Hello, I think we should be live. Maybe give me a heads up if you need an audio tweak. But this is the OffGrid dev stream. I have two friends and special guests with us today. I've got March and Infodocs Darren. So that's Tao and Infodocs on Twitter. Say hello, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
So, we're back to the dev stream format. We are, instead of playing other people's hacking games tonight, we're going to play our hacking game OffGrid, and we're going to have some fun with it. Hopefully, the whole plan is to actually try and knock up a fairly interesting level of that's mildly based on Westminster Magistrates Court, seeing as a bunch of us have been there fairly regularly over the last 5 years. That's kind of fun. What am I up to now? I think the first thing I'm going to do is try and bring... March, are you going to have your camera on?
Oh, I can put my camera on, yeah. Let me
Let's give that a shoot.
Wow.
There we go. And then I will... How do I do that? Well. Oh, this should do it. Yeah, hang on. VoIP display. Very good, very good. Nice. Oh, no, I ballsed it up.
What have you done?
I just made the window too small. It's alright. There we go. I think that's it. I think we've got March in the corner there, just about to... Oh, do you know what? I've realised... There we go. We're all good.
Yeah. I'm there.
We've got March. We've got Darren, and we have a lovely Unity scene in the background. So for anyone who's watching who hasn't come across OffGrid before, it's a stealth hacking game where data is your most powerful weapon. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, basically, instead of collecting weapons, you collect little hacking tools that you can use in your VR glasses or AR glasses to sniff packets in a kind of 3D way. I guess I should probably throw a little bit of the game up quickly. The easiest way of doing that is by actually jumping into this project. And so, for anyone that missed the news around this end of last year, essentially, Darren and March and some of our other friends who do security research for fun and for profit are featuring in OffGrid as characters that you can meet and talk to and hear their opinions on the C word. That's probably the way to put it, isn't it? Is it going to be your opinions on the internet at large?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the C word is very vague. It could be like computer security or crime.
I was thinking cyber. Yeah, I mean crime too.
We don't use that word.
Yeah. It's past the watershed, but there's probably not a watershed hour for when you're allowed to say cyber.
No. It's verboten all the time.
I find that really disappointing because we all know that William Gibson pretty much was the coiner of the term. So for him to not be allowed his props for having, neuromancered and cryptonomiconed his way into the dictionary is it's a little sad, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, this is why we can't have nice things, right? People just turn them into cyber.
But people turn cyber into cyber, even. Yeah, it does happen. Right, I was gonna throw up a bit of off-grid, so let's see if this will work. I've done that classic thing of fiddling around with the stream setup for so long that I forget to actually test the game in its current state. So it ought to work. I mean, it's only a video game, right? Can't be that hard. Come on, video game. Oh, yeah.
Render.
Okay. Let's should we just stretch that out a bit so we can see a bit more. It's at least running.
Yeah.
It's always a good start. Ooh, it's a little laggy, but that always happens when I'm on the stream and trying to run two different Unity projects. I don't know whether you've seen this recently, March, but do you remember during the Kickstarter closing party, one of the things that we were doing was we added like a stretch goal that we were trying to hit, and we hit it during the Kickstarter closing party.
I'm pretty certain I remember that, yeah.
That stretch goal was for like making a social media app like Twitter that we called Flutter.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
So you can see that down in the bottom corner. Anyway, we implemented that recently. So now, if I turn Flutter on, I think we'll start to see some fleets turn up from random characters.
Oh, I love it.
That's what we've done is we've kind of made it a bit of an interesting gameplay mechanic. So hopefully you and Darren both, when you write your characters up, will write a few fleets that can come up at various points. But there'll also be like when you hack a device that does something to a guard or an NPC, they're gonna then tweet about it having happened to them. So you don't have to be there sitting watching your hack happen. You can see some guard say, "God damn it, the coffee machine just spilt all over my trousers. What am I going to tell the wife?" Or whatever, you know. It should be kind of fun.
That's pretty great. The sort of it's like the coup de grace of doing any kind of hacking is seeing the after effects,
Exactly.
Especially when you hear someone complain.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how a hacker surveys the battlefield. He just listens for the complaints. just watching for some sysadmin to turn up on Twitter and go, "Well, I'm stuck at work for the next 24 hours."
Not even wrong. Oh man, yeah, that is awesome. They're showing up right now.
Are you trying to say anything? It looks like you might be muted. I don't think I've muted you.
Oh shit, yeah, it was muted because the cat was going ballistic.
Okay, cool. As long as you weren't there kind of trying to join in the conversation and us completely missing it.
Yeah, that would have been...
I suppose it's better than March's kind of slagging off David Tennant on air without knowing about it. It's like the inverse of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's the opposite. Man, I can't believe that.
Can't believe what?
That happened. The Tennant thing.
Well, I mean, were you ever hoping to meet him or anything like that?
No.
Have you ruined your chances? No.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay. Cool. Well, so basically, I mean, this is OffGrid. We were just having a little run around to show people what OffGrid's about. I haven't seen any fleets. I think we might have turned because Pontus was testing it recently. Oh, have you? You sure they weren't just text messages? Oh,
yep,
they were up in the middle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So at the minute they're pretty template, but yeah, it's going to get pretty fun when they're generated by people who've been hacked as well. We're going to have like a flag. Oh, there you go. Yeah, anonymous says feeling down. Send help, please. Oh dear. Yeah, that's like anonymous post 2013.
Not even wrong.
So this is how you hack in OffGrid for those newcomers. Essentially, we're SSHing into this hand dryer that has sent us a text message because it's a slag. we can now SSH in because it's got poorly set up credentials, admin, and we can go into the user logs and download. Oh look, Mick Umbridge, his hygiene score is around 20%. It's a fireable offence.
Oh my god, this is awesome.
It's really, like, it's a bit weird to be surprised by your own writing, but when you haven't looked at something properly in 6 or 12 months, you always forget about it. So
Barry Peterson's pretty filthy as well.
Yeah, he is. They're both getting fired. And then Dave Coleman is a germaphobe. Do you know what's really funny is there are, obviously, during the Kickstarter, there are a few people who backed at a level that meant that they could get into the game in different ways. And Dave was one of those people. There was already a Dave Coleman kind of random generated name in the game. So, like, I think Dave probably thinks that I've already done the implementing him in the game thing, and it's just one of those brilliant coincidences, actually. We've turned the hand dryer on continuous test mode, and that does a little cheeky stealth cliche of opening up the air vent for us. And now we've got to watch out for this guy. So we can start to see the networks. Here are the Pacotes. We can start to read some of this data too. By the way, if you're in the chat, do say hello. There's a few people watching, it looks like, on a couple of different platforms. What I do need to do, actually, is jump out of this very quickly and bring up Steam, because I have this really bad habit of completely ignoring the Steam broadcast chat, and a couple of people have said hello there. I know, it's because I have this one centralized place that brings YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, all of the comments into one place. Apart from it doesn't connect to Steam broadcast, and I always forget that. But it won't take me long to sort that out. There we go, there's the Steam chat app. Let's open that bad boy. Oh, hang on. I need to move that out of the way because that's blocking the view of you. No, that's still blocking the view of you. There we go. We'll see. I might just ignore Steam chat again. People never say hello in the Steam chat anyway.
Well, now you've told them that they should go somewhere else. It'll be fine. They should
go to Twitch and say hello, or they should join the Discord and say hello. That's the best thing they should do.
Oh man, I forgot there was a Discord. I should probably go back to that sometime.
Oh, you should jump in. Yeah, one day we should do a funny kind of Q&A type thing where we do something interesting. I think at one point we'll have to have you playing your in-game characters in the Discord.
That'd be pretty good fun, actually. Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Oh, Steam chat is such a balls thing. What we got here? That's me. Pathfinder is saying that he's removed himself from the guard. Oh right, Pathfinder's up for trying to join in. Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
So can someone try and get him? Oh, hang on, I'll try and add him to the.
He can. I think he can just join with the Hangouts link that we sent earlier.
Okay.
Which we will not paste into the Twitch chat.
Yeah.
No, I'll paste it there into the not Twitch chat. That would be kind of fun though, wouldn't it? It's like a LAN party, but for Twitch streaming. And not in the same room. It's really not a LAN party for anything. Would it be fun? Find out. Maybe not tonight. So we might have a Pathfinder turn up in a second.
Excellent.
And I was going to Yes, okay, and I've got the Steam chats doing their thing. Anonymous says Uncharted 4 is the latest Uncharted 4 is the latest release in the famous kart racing series. That's weird.
I like it.
They get bizarre because Jeebus, was that a little earthquake right now? Everyone okay in the Lisbon area? Because they're kind of mildly procedurally generated, like they're either like inane or insane. They're like one of two.
Yeah, I saw one earlier, a couple of minutes ago, I guess, where it was like, it's been a long time since I've broken into your house, and it was like, wait, what? Just an ominous kind of tweet.
Right. I think Pathfinder's all right finding us. So I'll leave him to that. Yeah, let's get back to having a little nose around this place. So I mean, I don't remember whether I sort of start to tell you about how this stuff works now, but down the left-hand side, there's, well, actually, I guess March, your face is in the way. Right in the way of it. But there's this new sort of hacking set of nodes that you can build up. So you can get
I can kind of see it there.
These points that allow you to hack for longer. It's almost like adding an extra endpoint to your proxy each time, I suppose. Okay. It kind of gives you a longer time before you could ostensibly get traced. If that makes sense.
Right. Okay, that's pretty cool, actually.
Oh, that's like in, what was it, Uplink?
A bit like Uplink, yeah, exactly, where you're bouncing around.
Yeah.
So in this, basically, you get these net points from hacking certain devices and leaving a file or essentially a little piece of software on a given IoT device, and you have a limit of how many that you can do that to. Or setting up a new mesh network node, so you can build them up by completing more levels and setting up mesh network nodes in different places. That's the general sense of it. So yeah, there's actually some kind of. Oh, hang on, what's going on there? There's a, I think there's a funny AI bug that we should try and check out. There's a female guard who looks like she's just floating around rather than animating.
Oh my god, yeah, I think
floating in
T-pose.
T-pose.
No, yeah, it's just happened on the Twitch, I think.
She's just there with the flashlight, kind of
flailing.
Scary. It's that freakier than watching them walk around.
Bug or feature?
Bug or feature? Yeah, good question.
Did I just hear Path there?
Maybe.
Good evening.
Yes, I think I did.
We have Pathfinder. We also have the top of your head. There we go.
Where are you going?
Oh, okay. Been zapped. Well, that's a good point, I think, to get onto the fun bit of building some level and chatting about courthouses, about courtrooms, and how they can be represented in lulls and non-lulls ways. Path, do we still have you?
The chairs are really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm still here.
They're low poly. They probably are uncomfortable. Yeah, sitting on anything that's got like limited faces, it's probably uncomfortable. Cool. Thanks for joining us, Path. I'm glad that you managed to get away from the I don't know how to describe it. How would you describe it?
Intellectual peasantry.
That is brutal.
That's how I would describe it.
Fucking wrecked.
Well, you're away. You're to the fun now. So that's.
I'm trying to bring the stream up. That's what I'm trying to do.
Cool. What I've got here is a set of different rooms that that the three of you might recognise from various points. If this building had a big crest on the outside, and had Lowry reading out a Mary Shelley poem to a crowd of journalists, then you might recognise it. Apart from its low polyness and its weird textures,
I feel like you should have Lowry as like a random event that he will stand out there and read things to people.
Guess what? We could do that. We could probably do some of that. We could at least we could add a space and a spawn point for Lowry quickly. Adding the poem bit might take a bit more work. But yeah, this is the front of Westminster Magistrates Court. It's slightly more easy to understand when you go through this set of double doors, and then you see this kind of weird set of security benches, and this is where they take your laptop off of you and then inspect your EpiPen for half an hour, and then you go through here, and this is where they usually put up court listings. Who's in where? Whoops, we've zoomed out.
Don't forget that they banned cake from coming through. I don't know if you remember that, but there was a cake at one point.
No, I don't.
Had to live in the car instead for 6 hours.
I mean, they've been burnt by that one before with a file baked into it, so it's understandable, isn't it?
So this one had a working QR code, so you could literally HTTP over cake. If you zapped the QR code, it took you to the...
Right, it was malware. It was a malware cake.
Yeah, it did the job. You could HTTP over cake.
Yeah, I mean, you can't complain about that security guard being on his game then, really. I mean, he may have banned it by mistake. He may have just been a fun-hating... I wouldn't say suit, but they wear cardigans, don't they? He wanted to keep it. Right. Yeah. It wasn't not allowed through, it was just only allowed into his belly.
Pretty much, I mean, that's how it goes with anything tasty. It's like at the airport, right? They know that you're not going to blow up a plane with a bottle of whiskey. They just want your fucking bottle of whiskey. It's same with all the expensive makeup and shower shit. They're just like, I'll be having some of that.
Oh my god.
I would not even be surprised if that's actually true.
Being from Essex and having Stansted Airport as one of the airports that I can get to easily, there is something quite hilarious about being in Stansted Airport, because obviously Essex people take their makeup very seriously. And last time I was going through the airport, there was some poor lass who had just not read the instructions properly before travelling, and had brought pretty much her entire makeup collection in a carry-on, and was trying to get it through security. And that stuff is expensive, like... Yeah. I don't think, like, a lot of those things you pay 10, 15, 20 quid for a little tube of whatever it is. And
they add a zero.
Yeah. And then this person was like, sorry, it's the rules, and basically just, without even asking her, just dumped it all into the bin right in front of her. And she was you know how many hundreds of people are going in there and talking, and it's a loud place, right? And you could hear her wail across the entire airport security area.
Oh, this poor woman. That's just horrible.
It was horrible.
I hate airports, man.
It was funny as well, though.
I swear airport security guards are like, especially in the UK, like I always get hassled in the UK, but they are just, they're plucked from the most sort of disruptive, irritating assholes that they could possibly be. I hear about Americans talking about like their TSA thing, and man, every time I've been to America, it's been fine. The TSA haven't ever actually given me a bother. They've been really polite and stuff. Meanwhile, I go to the UK, like out of an airport in the UK, and I get like my entire waistband swabbed just in case, I don't know, I'm made of bombs.
Well, on that note, seeing as we've just given a compliment to the TSA, and I have to travel to America soon, we'll leave it at that. We'll move on from airports. So yeah, this is a courtroom that a few of us have been in actually. This is the little gallery that you sit in.
I think right now I've been in this.
Yeah. This is I can't remember the name of the actual room. FYI, just as a kind of what do you call it? Plausible deniability disclosure kind of statement. You're not allowed to draw in court. You are only allowed to use shorthand and kind of write what court looks like and then draw when you're outside of court. So clearly I didn't sit in the court and 3D model any of it. And I definitely didn't do any sketches or drawings against, in contempt of court. And I have been a very good boy the entire time. So just a disclaimer.
What we're looking at now is just enough outside of accurate so as to not be classed, right? That's how you would play that.
Well,
like a song that is just changed so much that copyright trolls can't jump in.
Yeah, I mean, like, in terms of polys, this is so different. Yeah, no one can argue that this has got the same amount of polys as IRL.
And there's nowhere near that amount of space for people in the actual court.
That's actually true. It's partly because it's a third-person game, so in order to get a third-person camera around this place, that's what we had to do. So a couple of you will have met Soph, our artist, and this is her handiwork, actually. She's the one who knocked this up outside of the court during normal work hours, probably from her home. She usually works remotely from home. But look, I'm the judge all of a sudden. I'm sitting up in the judge's area. It's pretty rad. No one got to do that when we were in there visiting and supporting Lowry and other friends at various times. So yeah, get to be the judge right now. One of the things that I really want to do is like imagine what's back here. You know, like the judges' quarters thing that they come in and out of, like some magical smoke room. I imagine it to be like like some kind of Soho club kind of thing, smoky atmosphere. Some kind of members club where everyone's smoking cigars and drinking brandy, and then they just pop out for half an hour at a time to make a judgment every now and then. What do you reckon?
I worked in a place. It was a client a while back. I won't say anything about the client or what I did, but what I will say is the site had what was called the sword room, which was indeed a room with a shit ton of swords all over the walls. And I imagine they look like that. It looks like that inside. Just like, I don't know.
Just
hundreds of gavels or something like that, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, like gavels from the ages. Like worn miniature battle hammers.
Exactly.
This is the gavel of Thor. This is the gavel of Odda, conqueror of hackers of 93.
Oh man, I could sing like that.
Okay, well that's what we're gonna make it like then. I think that was one of the reasons that I needed you guys on this stream tonight, was so that we could decide exactly how we were gonna do that. So let me just I'm just gonna knock up a couple of game objects to store some of this stuff. That's courtroom 1. So one of the things that I do kind of need you guys to do some of actually is also start writing up a character profile thing that will help with the kind of procedural generation of messages from your character and such alike. So I might just ping you a lure file each quickly. Where would I find that? I've completely forgotten how to make things in OffGrid. Hang on. There we go. Open level folder. That must be the one. Yep. Courthouse missions, content, characters. Yes. Okay. So feel free to chat, tell stories, reminisce in the background while I'm kind of working away and pulling things together in the courthouse level. Like any other fond memories other than cakes that were attempted to be smuggled in? Have we still got Path?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to argue with the server provider that we are going to use.
For the
digitally
bot?
argue with them. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
In and out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. No worries.
Darren and I were chatting about Discord bots earlier, and I was attempting to describe what we're up to with the bot. That's a bit of fun news, actually. So Path has been working on a bot that we can do showdown queries with, so that basically people who join the Discord can give a port number and see how many devices are open on said port or using said service, which is kind of fun.
That sounds like it could be pretty fun.
Yeah, so in the next, we probably can't drop the name of the vendor, but let's call them Web Reasoning.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
We can just plug that port straight in and go, well, there are these many things on that specific port currently open. You go, right, well, now I can just wander over to a little journalist and go, hey, I've got this inside information. There are 30,000 things for web reasoning out on the internet. You go, God, this threat intelligence is mind-blowing. How do you do it?
Turns out that you just shit-posted a bot. And
Yeah, pretty much. Yep. It's a recycled bot from a little while ago called Darth Vegas. And Darth Vegas would have conquered the world, but for his gambling addiction. So now he sits working for us on a server to feed us YouTube videos and XKCD things and ports that might come back from interesting queries and these kind of things. I wanted to do an IoT kind of search thing, but we're getting into grey areas of data there. And I don't think I can do, oh yeah, track this person by their iPhone coordinates. I don't think we can put that in the server. So I
No, possibly not.
No. Fun though it would be.
So I've just pinged you all that's the Diane Fab bot that I named Path quite some time ago on a stream. But if you have a look in there, basically if you made one,
guys, I'll be back in a second. Carry on.
Yep. If you made one for yourselves that's called Pathfinder or Darren or Infodocs, and have a look. Basically, as you are hack characters in the game, you're going to want to have much less information in here anyway, rather than just the funny stuff. The idea being, like, this is essentially the profile document that Spectrum or some other kind of government-style tool has started building up on each of the characters in the world. So yours will be pretty empty, but still have a few funny little bits in places, was the thought behind it. Or, have misleading information, like a date of birth in 1874 or something like that.
January 1st, 1970.
There you go.
Yeah, that's when all of the internet people were born. Did you think about this, the reverse of trying to hide themselves online and instead tag themselves as almost every object you could? So if you search for the person's name, you would just be flooded with images that had nothing to do with it. Like, you would tag a banana as his name. He would tag thousands of people over years as being his name, because he has somewhat, I remember. So instead of not being anywhere, he was everywhere. There was no way to pin down who was the real person.
That's quite brilliant, actually, but surely they can wind it back to when he first started doing it.
Depends on the resources. Again, you're talking about if it was some person online trying to, I don't know, check somebody out they'd seen or has come up with a job interview. But if you had the right resources,
at nation state level, if they wanted to hit up the right Facebook.
Yeah, I tell you what we need to do. We need to come up with a new name for the phrase nation state, but instead we need to make it a kind of a comical nonsense, because
that sounds good.
That phrase is very sort of serious all around the world. Nation state, state actor, nation state, right?
Yeah.
If we can come up with something that has the same people understand what you mean, but it's ridiculous.
Well, bloody wasters of tax money.
Bloody wasters of tax money. Yeah, fair enough. I was thinking something where you just take like state actor instead, say like territory thespians or something like that.
Territory.
Oh, yes. That's pretty good.
Because that's pretty easy play on words. People don't have to do too much brain usage to actually understand where you're coming from there, right? So we can call them territory thespians. We can, at the very least, in OffGrid, they can all just be called territory thespians.
I really think they should be.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So I suppose what we should do is add the little fun bit of trying to throw a Lowry in here somehow. Because I did say to Lowry that we would.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was just checking IRC to see whether he was about. But yeah, we should do that. Let's make a little floor piece here. Ultimately, obviously, this all looks a bit ropey at the minute. That's kind of how level design goes. You kind of have to block it all out, and it has lots of gaps in it to start with. But eventually, this will have the right kind of stuff going on.
Shit, guys, I better hop off. The cat's got the zoomies.
Fair enough.
Oh no.
So
all right.
I have to prevent massive destruction of property.
Cool. Thanks for popping in.
Right.
Good luck with slowing your cat down.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll catch you later.
All right, chatting a bit.
Cheers, dude. So, fun stories from court while I build some stuff. Anyone?
I've got no fun stories at all from court. Or do I? No, I don't think I do. No.
Or not fun stories from court, obviously. So valid.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the court stories are not the most fun.
No.
Although it's surprising just how polite so many judges are. I was surprised by that over time.
Yeah, they're like the classic kind of like shit behind your back. That's what they go into that little room full of hammers, and then and then they say something completely different.
I hope that is what they call it as well.
The room full of hammers.
And lo, shall we retreat to the room of hammers to discuss further?
I hope so too. Something's going wrong.
I suppose the probably the only amusing things that could come out of court, especially given the subject matter we're kind of referring to, is how some of the time you have certain things that have to be submitted in evidence which contain a lot of surrounding information unrelated to the case at hand. So one thing I remember is that there was a court case that the evidence of which surrounds some form of IRC log communication. Logging is bad, don't log, as we said, blah blah blah. However, what had happened at this time was a bunch of people who hadn't really paid attention to the issue of logging, and were using a channel that was normally used for quite graphic furry cosplay online sex chat, they also used as their sort of hacking collaboration channel.
Okay.
Which then ended up in
so the judge had to read it out.
It was all read out verbatim in court over a period of a few hours because there were snippets in between. So it's sort of now official record and was read out by a person to a judge for the judge to have to sort of sit with various, reaction faces, IRL.
Did the judge have to go, and could you please define food?
Things had to be explained, and it was quite graphic, very furry related.
I need a definition for the word yiffing, please. That is
crazy.
So probably a good practice for anyone else to do. The next generation of young hackers, hold your chats in the most horrific
obscene
place.
possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
the goatee appreciation group and things like that.
I was gonna say, surely the just goatee is. Probably already started that.
See, the problem with this is it's getting streamed, so you kind of have to be hesitant with your ideas. But when you get down these kind of you end up having sort of terrible ideas. And I thought, well, if you really wanted to sort of hedge your bets, what you do is you would work out the names of the top leading judges on these types of things within your jurisdiction, so that all of the culture would be about them and their antics, which would then have to be read out in court.
Ah, I see.
I feel like that's just you're gonna make yourself a lifelong enemy with that.
You basically you make some kind of you make sure that the chat room that you're talking about your illicit behaviours in is dedicated to talking about the most strict judges in your area, so that you naturally get selected for by the most lenient one.
That's not a bad idea. Your entire chat room has 2 points, right? One is crime or whatever else, and then the other point is erotic fan fiction about the world or the country's strictest judges.
And they wouldn't be able to officiate. They wouldn't be able to.
That would actually be a conflict.
They wouldn't be a
right?
neutral. Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't be a neutral party. So it's like
you just leave out the most kindly left-leaning, younger generation judges possible.
Yep.
Find the most prim and proper person you can, and just lay it all out on them.
I think this is genius.
Get them up to some filth.
This would work. They wouldn't actually be allowed to do anything about that. In terms of, they wouldn't be allowed to sit and hear that case.
Yeah. Well, hackers of the world unite in making strict judge fanfic, erotic fanfic.
Aside from how fun that idea is, to have one judge read out the sex fantasies based on the judge. This is
I mean, they're going to naturally be in your favour anyway, because it's probably going to be some office politics that you accidentally stumble across with your fiction.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the judge is going to be like, "Oh, look, you've been a naughty boy, but this is really, really well written."
Amazing. But yeah, remember, don't talk about these things in public channels. Don't talk about them if you can. Kind of evidencing format. Of course, we're talking about sharing cookie recipes and all that kind of thing. You don't want someone to steal your cookie recipe. Don't share your cookie recipes in a manner in which it can be used against you.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm telling you?
Be plausibly denying any baking of cookies at every stage.
You are not getting my cookie recipe, I'll tell you now. That is not happening.
Well,
that does remind me of some story I was reading, donkeys years ago, where the GCHQ or the NSA or someone hacked into I think maybe it was ISIS or Al Qaeda or one of their newsletters, and replaced some kind of recipe for presumably bombs with a cake mixture, and this was a thing they were super proud of. What a weird thing to replace it with.
That's the one place that anyone had ever written that particular formula, and that, it was lost forever, or what? I mean,
yeah.
We're not paying these guys to have a laugh, are we?
It sounds like the kind of thing that earlier iterations of JTrig might have done for the lulz. I heard that as well. I've done that.
I mean, my problem with it is it lacks imagination. I mean, you defaced their, I don't know, their weird online magazine or altered it so they can't make their bombs. Now you might as well do something really impressive with it. Like, again, I'm gonna go back to the old staple of goatsy. Why just a recipe when you can do so much more to horrify people and scar them for life?
Operation Cupcake. The Secret Intelligence Service.
Cupcake.
Yeah, it was actually called, well, whether or not it was called that, but the Secret Intelligence Service, otherwise popularly known as MI6, they were the ones who allegedly popped into the magazine called Inspire.
Oh, yeah.
Its instructions with a recipe for cupcakes. So, yeah, dead on that.
Nice.
I suppose that works because the whole point is it's a magazine, so it's being distributed. It's not like just some file that was saved somewhere.
And I have uncovered evidence to suggest that it was a joint UK-US enterprise, because whilst it was the Secret Intelligence Service who planted it, it was actually
they needed the
cupcake
recipe, yeah, from the US.
Originally published on the Ellen DeGeneres chapter.
Right, good.
This now it just seems like the kind of thing that I'm hoping approaches urban myth, right? Because that was probably like a multi-million-dollar operation, and it was only successful because the editor of this zine didn't think, oh, better check what I've just printed out before I do the whole run.
Well, was there a physical run as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no,
Brilliant.
I don't know if there was a print run.
I think I have heard in the past that.
print.
Yeah, I was going to say. Now that you're talking about it that way, I feel like it was as well. That is genius. I mean, can you imagine that? Them like just sitting on the box, like reading email. Okay, I think we've got the the article on the caliphate finished up. I think we're ready, guys. Okay, drop the cake recipe.
All right, you know what? That actually would be pretty funny. I'm vibing with it more once you think about that.
Well, what I was going to do next was I'm going to look for Larry's pram sound boombox thing and try and throw that in.
I'll be back in a second.
Yep. So, where do I keep that stuff is the next question.
But yeah, on the bot front, once I get the right access to things, it just is an upload and ready for review, and then after that review, we'll have to plug in the right channel configurations, and then we'll be good to go.
I'm looking forward to that. Something funny happened with Discord today/yesterday, where Darren and I sort of learned about a bug feature, which really wasn't a bug in the end at all, but basically it kind of made it look like he'd got admin without him actually having admin. So because on our Discord we chose to allow people to add emojis, and manage the emojis that in our channel, which is a limit of 50, because we thought people will come up with better ones than we do. That basically gave you access to a server settings window, which then it blanks out everything else that you might want to have access to if you were going to change all the regions and the names and delete the server and change and kick and ban and whatever else, but it got rid of all that stuff and just put you through to the manage emojis window. And Darren and I couldn't, for the life of us, work out what was going on to start with. Took a lot turning things on and off to work out what was going on there.
Interesting. So that needs further exploration then. I thought you meant the whole 2FA mess that they had.
Well, I think that was overlapping. So, like, it happened at the same time that Darren and I had 2FA issues, and it was to do with being a verified user. So we just assumed that we were in that collateral. But it was it turned out it was a completely unrelated thing that happened that we noticed at the same time as there being 2FA problems. Do you know any more about that story? What was going on?
No, I don't.
They just had an outage, I think, is what happened. Like they weren't able to verify 2FA codes for a while. This is Discord yesterday. March.
Oh, right. Okay, that's interesting.
So on the Darth Vegas front, when do you reckon we will be looking?
Well, hopefully at some point tomorrow or over the weekend, I'll be able to get a key from you and add you to the server where he'll live, and we'll explore the stuff there. Nice. And then we just need channel configuration and to auth the thing, and it'll turn it.
Wicked.
It's async, but it's not any kind of threading or anything like that. So it should be enough for now, considering the usage, at least in the first instance, and rewrapping it with some kind of. I don't think the usage is going to be high enough for these things in other places. Async has been enough.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, we're at hundreds of users rather than thousands.
Even with thousands to start with, you're not having thousands in simultaneous usage.
Yeah. Cool.
So it should be okay.
Yeah. Lowry's speaker pram, I guess we should put it under devices next to things like servers and antennae. Really?
Definitely.
Let's try dropping this in here, see what we get.
So we have nobody quite really knows the full extent of the infrastructure behind that. I mean, we know there's speakers, but we have nobody has an infrastructure diagram. Who knows what?
It's an evolving piece of machinery, really. It changes forms. It's kind of like a Pokemon. It's a mystery.
So this is the model. I hope that I've got the right one. We'll find out very quickly. This is where version control sits and does its thing for about an hour while it checks that all the new files are in the right place and all the old files are in the right place. So yeah, I'm basically because Larry did a great section to a poem. I think it was a Mary Shelley poem. Before one of his. What is the? There you go. That's the correct item, isn't it? Look at that. Nice. It gives you a bit of more of a sense of scale of this building all of a sudden once you've got Larry's speaker pram in there.
I'm still waiting for the Twitch stream to catch up to the audio, so...
Yeah, it'll probably be kind of 10-15 seconds. Well, actually, it got to as much as 40 seconds out at one point last time, didn't it, Path?
Yeah, last time it was crazy.
Yeah, it did.
So, we'll have a Lowry here. I think we'll just add a mission object and a spawn for Lowry while we're at it.
It's spawned. I can see it. It looks amazing.
It's a shame that Lowry couldn't be on tonight. It would have been fun to have. Well, I suppose at the same time, it's probably still not far enough in the past for Larry to quite 100% laugh at the idea that it's all in low poly now.
Yeah, I feel like it's still. I mean, it is still pretty recent, really.
Yeah. Still fighting the good fight.
The imagery here, though, in this low poly rendering, is the right way to immortalize the situation.
Yeah.
It could have been immortalized in entirely different ways. So, hopefully, as this comes to life,
yep,
it'll be all okay.
Yep. Agreed. So one of the other fun things that I started to do was try and add interesting documents into the different courtrooms on different stenotype machines. So like, I don't know whether on one of the groups that we're all on together a few months back, Naomi was pointing me to different courtroom things, and the fact that you get these automatic stenotype machines, or you get stenotypist keyboards, which are like a weird sort of, it looks like a children's Fisher-Price piano basically, but it's set up for shorthand, and so people who write shorthand can type at conversational speed on them. Oh, we've got Dunno 66. How long ago was that? Oh, that was half an hour ago. Hi Dunno 666. I'm really sorry I didn't see you in the Twitch chat there. I hope you're still watching. Yeah, we're doing well. He says, I need to get this set up this weekend. Been running too much D&D. So that's someone who backed us at first access level then. So thank you very much for jumping in and helping on the Kickstarter. And I do hope you get in and set up and start making some mods on the weekend too. Because D&D can be played anytime, whereas making mods needs doing now. Clearly.
Yeah, thank you for supporting the project, man. It's awesome.
So I'm trying to find the spawn point that I just made a game object that was supposed to. Oh, I know why. There you go. Found it. Just a widget. Right. So this is where we're going to spawn Lowry in. I reckon. Add component. Mission object. Oh, do you know what? That's the other thing I've realised. I'm doing this bad habit of everything being mildly off screen for everyone as well, so I need to change that. It's better, isn't it? So we add a mission object is how we do this. Mission object. We're gonna make that a spawn point. That should be it. I think, yeah, that should be it. The other thing that I mean, what we could do is literally just spawn a Lowry in and just see whether it works. It wouldn't take us long to.
I feel like
let's try it.
it'd be worth seeing a Lowry materialize.
Yeah. Let's do that quickly then. So Lowry spawn, we need a player spawn, so I'll just duplicate Lowry spawn. Is that working? Maybe. That's worked. I'll spawn there.
I feel like the Techno trolley should be hackable at some point.
Oh, that is what we call it, Techno trolley. Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? At least to be able to change the soundtrack to the game or something.
Yeah.
So some meta hack where it affects like the game systems rather than the in-game world.
That would actually be amazing. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. I wonder, does Lowry have like a theme tune? Do we have anything that would work as a theme tune for Lowry?
I mean, in my head, Lowry's theme tune is something jungly.
yeah, absolutely. But that would be awesome. Imagine if you hack it and then suddenly you have basically like Lowry's theme playing across the entire.
Techno trolley. I by the way, I did that thing of like typing what I'm saying rather than what I'm supposed to type just then. So like I wrote techno spawn. Let's throw this up. I mean, yeah, no, I'll change it to player spawn. That's going to confuse me if I leave that in. Right. Anyone know where that quote's from? Right.
Oh, jeez, is it Wallace and Gromit or something?
No, someone very similar to Wallace and Gromit.
No.
Right. Pathfinder, any guesses?
No, doesn't ring a bell for me.
It's when David Cameron got caught hot mic when he resigned. He gave his resignation speech and walked away from the stand. Didn't realise that the mic was still on. Went through the door and as he went through the door, he went do do do. Right.
That was a man who
we're
was
going
like,
to the dogs.
That was a man who was actually fine with the fact that he wouldn't have to deal with the fallout from his own mess.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a courthouse mission script up here, and we've actually already got the player, but we've also got a Pathfinder and a Spoonsy in here.
Wait, Spoonsy has a character model?
Spoonsy doesn't have a character model. Spoonsy is a virtual character that will turn up at some point. I think he wanted to stay in the wings, a bit like Pathfinder. Wanted to stay in the wings, which is good. So we've got
in the shadow.
Yeah, exactly. So we need to create a physical character for Lowry now. So we'll do that here. And this is the awesome thing about the modding in OffGrid. Actually, it's incredibly fast to put some of this stuff together. Internal name Lowry. We've got some fun stuff coming up. Are either of you going to CCC camp?
Not me.
Not the camp, no.
Me neither.
But EMF
is next year?
next year again? Yeah.
There is actually an EMF Augur thing at the end of the month, March, if you happen to want a jaunt into London for some beers and some EMF.
You know what? I may consider that. That might be fun. It's been a while since I've been actually.
Also, we're going to have to get you down relatively soon because George is probably going to become sausages.
Oh, no. No, my...
Yeah, I'm sorry to say.
But he's
so
big. Noble and awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's the way of the farm, sadly.
I guess. That's just sad.
It is sad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought up such a downer. Right. Let's see. I need to grab another character. No, another mission script to reference. I've forgotten how I do NPCs. Prefab agent. Yeah, it is just a character type NPC. That's fine. Good. Okay. So we're adding Lowry as an NPC. We need to find the Lowry prefab. And that's going to be an interesting one. Actually, it should all be on the wiki now. Prefabs. Type some prefabs. This is worth showing people for just general knowledge. Let me pull that up properly. So, come on. There we go. March, is that you writing? Are you writing a goodbye note to
No,
George?
right now. That's not me.
Oh, it's Sean.
Hey guys.
Hey!
Sean! Hey!
How's it going?
You realize now that you by saying my name you can't say my other name or else you dox me.
Oh, that's true. Fuck. Well,
Yeah.
it's your fault because you like that was the name that came up in the Hangouts window. So like, actually, you're lucky that happened because otherwise, what would have happened is I'd have said your other name. And people watching at home would have been able to read this little screen that says Sean in it.
Yeah.
Well, I need to get myself a proper email address, I suppose.
A proper one. So I've got to work out what Lowry would have been named as. All of these prefabs have gotten like generic names and the tag enemy on the bottom because of the fact that coat scarf. Coat scarf, I think is Darren.
Coat. Yeah, that sounds about right. Didn't he have a scarf in his model?
Yeah, he did. Casual blazer. I wonder who that is. Don't think that's Lowry. I think Lowry's probably open shirt. Because I think he's wearing a... Let's try that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to change those prefab names so they don't say enemy on them, because actually there is no such thing as an NPC or an enemy anymore in OffGrid. They can all be both at different stages, and the data-driven AI actions define what they are, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
so
cool.
You can basically set up actions to be hostile or friendly, and the guards will react and use those actions at different times.
Nice, that's pretty awesome. Am I down there as a leather jacket enemy?
Yes, I think so. I think that sounds about right. We will have to drop the word enemy off the end, won't we?
Eventually, but for now I like it.
Who's writing like mad hacker plans on a whiteboard right now?
Is it Sean?
I can distinctly hear like marker pen.
I'm not typing anything. I'm just staring at this in disbelief.
You're just staring into the Google.
I'm waiting for the oppressively loud jungle music denial system to come out.
Oh right, yeah. Once we get this spawn going, that's one thing that I mean we're gonna have to just pretend and play that in the background because I haven't built the sound banks, which takes bloody ages, and we'd have to. Well, I tell you what, Sean, you're usually pretty good at finding tunage. Why don't you pick Lowry's theme song, and then send us a link or a YouTube link that we can put on in the background.
Oh, perfect.
It's not allowed to be Psytrance. I know you're a Psytrance fan, but that's definitely Larry's got to be
It's got to be
something a bit more
jungle.
jungly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does have to be jungle.
Alright. Back to source control. Check your shit out properly, Richard. That's the wrong level. Courthouse. Here we go. Content. Mission. There we go.
So update. Darth Vegas does have a house. He just hasn't moved in yet.
Nice. Good. It's so nice to have a virtualized house.
Yeah, unfortunately, the provider was back and forth about authing certain information before letting me into places, but that has been solved now.
Certain information about like as in account holder jargon.
Correct.
Gubbins. That is often the way, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately.
At least it's resolved now.
Yeah, I'm super hyped about getting Darth Vegas into the Discord. I think people are going to enjoy it, and from that point, that's what we started to chat about actually. Was from that point on we can get, or we can look at getting, a little kind of onboarding process built in, can't we? Where people have to pick a role. Like I was thinking, like we could get Darth Vegas to ask people like hacker, hoaxer, whistleblower, spy, when they turn up, and them have to write a command that I can set up a different bot if it's a pain in the ass to do via the Discord API with Darth Vegas that can assign roles based on a basic command, and just get everyone to give themselves a clan that they fit into, that opens up varying channels to them. Then we can kind of tear people through stuff and give them some learnings.
So if you treat DV as a framework, if you remember that essentially if you could put anything, you can either put in a singular function or you can create a class. Within that class structure, you can easily have another set of submodules if you wish. Like you can gamify it out, because if you imagine that the way you would develop a new class, you would just create a new tree of functionality within a class, and then having subclass or submodules across a number of different files. You could build an entirely new an entirely new
module
functionality.
Yep.
And essentially just then a comms management pipe for whatever you've put in there. Darth Vegas will put back in.
Cool.
So that the core components of it will just allow you to do that. So I haven't put anything in play to start with that would do that. But if you had a whole game, all you need to know is that you have to have a main class as if you were writing a standalone thing, and then at the end of it, instead of running it as a standalone, you simply hook it through as a command function to instantiate the class of your game, and it will all just run within the context of Darth Vegas on Discord.
Nice.
So you can do things without it should be as easy as if you made a game standalone yourself, and all I would do is I would create that into an instantiated class instead, which then could be used. So it can be as big or as small as you want. I mean, he can use. We would keep it to, if it was something small, SQLite. If it was something bigger, I would put a Postgres DB. If you wanted to do sort of some kind of fancy gaming tracking over time, people could pick their game up where it left off. We would do it something that way, but
I don't think it needs to be anything quite that complex. I was literally thinking something along the lines of like people pick a role, and so they can open different rooms up to them, and then those different rooms have some different bits and bobs. Kind of like when we talked about having a room where we could get the bot to take people through the basic steps of OPSEC or the basic steps of digital hygiene in some way, shape or form.
Okay, so probably we'd want a compartmentalized channel for that.
Yeah.
And then that command, that module, that gamification would only exist within that channel, and no other command would be within that channel. So that whole pure remit of that channel is to. But the other thing you can do is you can launch him to activate a private message channel. So instead of flooding one channel with everybody else trying to use his functionality, you just ask Darth Vegas to start, and he will open a PM with you, and you would be able to do it all there. That would be another option.
Yep.
But again,
Nice.
what I'm not going to necessarily do immediately is build out the game.
But, no. There's functionality and framework there available for.
Yeah, it can be rolled in.
Cool. Sean, how are you getting on in picking Larry's theme tune?
Picked one for you.
Yeah.
I think it'd be representative and popular, so that's
Cool.
a crowd as well.
Good. Well, ping us a link somewhere when you get a moment, and then as soon as we get Lowry generating in this level, we'll put it on in the background.
It's gonna be good.
Right.
I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's as long as it's not like an audio goatsy.
Don't give him ideas.
Stretching out our ear holes. I keep trying to think through what else I need to do to get Larry to spawn here. I think it's pretty much there, as long as I have a functional mission script, which it looks. Oh, I guess Larry might need adding to some networks. That's probably it. It's probably the only other thing I've got to do. This is Larry's computer. Start type. Mesh node. Here we go. Oh yeah, here we go. So these are the basic three things that you have to do. add in a character. That's adding the devices, and then add them to the networks. So yeah, physical character connections. Can you give us a little hint at the direction you've gone in, Enzo? On the.
God damn it! Nobody heard
it's
that.
Over. On the song front.
Well, let me see. It doesn't really like drum and bass, but I thought I'd pick something sort of in between arcades. So a comfortable middle between the oppressive sounds of psytrance and drum and bass. I hope you don't mind a bit of a smoking reference in there.
No, that's fine. I think that'll work.
Well, your audience are over 18.
I think audiences are allowed to experience smoking in music, whether they're 18 or not.
As long as they're not smoking through the music, then we're okay. I mean, I don't know how you can do tobacco over TCP, but as long as you're not doing that.
If anyone has figured this out, how to do tobacco over TCP, let me know.
I was going to say, March, that's definitely up your street.
Just send an email out to the world about that one.
There was a couple of guys at the camp one time. It was a HAR 2009 or something like that. I think they were trying to figure out how to put like gas, like for lighting stuff up over an Ethernet cable, and they were trying to work out how much pressure the sides of the cable could take. They ended up drafting this like protocol. It's almost like gas over Ethernet.
What?
That sounds
That
mental.
is definitely a mental idea, but I love it.
Yeah. I know it was quite novel. And, I have nothing else around for piping gas, so just use the
Yeah,
that you have.
Right, I'm gonna say it. I think this mission script ought to be functional. Like it's not going to do very much.
Okay.
But I think if I save the scene, pull up the right thing here, so that we've got the game view. Yeah, drop that off. Oh no, that's not going to work. Okay. Do that differently.
This is like extreme demo bug.
This always happens.
Coding it and testing it live.
Yeah, there'll be a missing comma somewhere that takes half an hour to track down. That's what'll happen.
The same as programming anything.
Yep. A couple of people have commented that they quite enjoy watching me fail on the stream regularly because it makes them feel better about their own programming. I'll take that one. I can make people feel happy.
You've got to give the people what they want, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll just keep failing. Yeah, I can then just kind of say that my code writing is only bad because I'm trying to meet the audience's desires to boost the channel's popularity. I'm actually a much better programmer than this. It's just what my audience likes.
Absolutely. You've got to pander to them, right?
Exactly. Not connected. It can't find the game. Okay, well that's broken then. Why not? Game is right there running. Maybe. Oh, I know. Yeah. No, that is something that breaks. I need to go to the main menu scene for it to connect properly. It does something weird otherwise.
Thinking about it, you can take this this deliberately being a bad programmer to its ultimate conclusion. Every time someone finds a bug later on, you can always be like,
"Well, you asked for it."
An Easter egg. It's an Easter egg. It's it's a little thing for my older fans.
Exactly. Yeah. This goes out to all the old school stream watchers. Not fixing that one. That's a classic.
Yeah.
I did that one in November of 2017 for an audience of 10 on Periscope. Right. I think this should work. Ends, we're going to need to have your link ready.
I put it into the Hangouts link.
Oh, did you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me try and
Can I
find
post it
that.
again?
But bung it in either IRC or the other group, because I don't think I've got the Hangouts one easily available.
Yeah, put it in the group. I think that'd be easiest.
In the ISE.
IRC's fine as well. I got that up. I can't see it anywhere. Ends.
Send it on WhatsApp.
Yep.
Ugh. Oh man, I hear the fresh sound of a can clanking somewhere.
Hang on a sec. What have I done wrong? There we go. It's connected. Oh, there we go. Spooky music now.
Oh, you found it?
No, I haven't found yours yet. I can probably, if I try hard enough. The thing is with Hangouts is it hides the chat window, and obviously I'm like partly capturing that window as well. So that's probably the hardest place for me to find it without mucking about. Lure error, courthouse mission, line 41. Unexpected symbol near equals sign. Okay. 41. Items equals. What like that? That's why. Because that character's not been defined properly. This is why you don't copy paste.
Have you ever had to deal with AWS Lambda and the things that they do with indenting?
No, is the
Copy
short
paste
answer.
Problems from indentation are multiplied by 10.
As in, is it like a white space tabs versus spaces thing, or?
That they decide to do both with their auto indentation. So the first jump is a tab, and the second one is 4 spaces.
Oh no!
No matter what you do, it is an hour of fixing a series of indentations, realizing there was something outside of a loop, correcting that, and then you have to undo all of the indentation you thought you were fixing.
Yeah.
Why would anyone make a language with forced indentation after? Oh, God, no! Get out!
I agree. No white space at all.
None.
We should have won the language wars, Sean. It should have been Perl. It should have been Perl.
The only reason Perl has potentially got the negativity associated with it is that people would try to do the fun thing of, I'm going to do my entire web application in one line with no white space, and someone would look at that and go, this is not my life now. And they didn't realize that you could actually have this lovely flowing Perl code written. Instead, they saw the one-liner and thought, yeah, this is... look at this one over here. I just have to press space a few times, and I don't have to think about it. Brackets, braces, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I've seen a few good one-liners.
Oh yeah, I've seen some really, really weird one-line Perlings. I've written some really weird, janky Perl in my time, in fact.
We're going to write the Tweetasploit framework with one-liner Perl codes.
Oh yeah.
Metasploit framework, but with just one-liners that fit in a tweet.
Yeah. Wait. Another fatal error?
Yeah, there's a Lowry spawn point is wrong for some reason.
He's hacked your game.
Probably.
Well, you guys fix that, I'm going to mute myself and go for a cigarette. I will be back in a few minutes.
Okay. It says, couldn't find spawn object for character. So, let's get to the bottom of that. I made a spawn object for him. I probably just misspelled it. No, that looks exactly the same. Okay, in which case, hit save, and then try and build the mission again, I suppose. Sean, I still don't have the link for your music if this starts working.
I sent it on to RC on the room chat and
really?
Well,
yeah, it's in
yeah.
Oh, okay. IRC isn't updating for me. I'm not going to reconnect to that right now. Then.
Right. Where would you like it delivered?
In the group.
Yeah.
The serious business group.
I will get it for you. 1 sec. If it is the thing.
Right, building level. Let's hope this works. Spawn, mission object spawn. That's correct.
And it's good. Yeah.
So, Sean, what is it that makes Perl superior? The superior language. Tell me.
Yeah, I think it's just the flexibility it gives you. Really, I mean, you can sort of. It's like, you know, when someone tells you to write something down. If you're in a lecture and you write your own notes, you do it really quickly and messily. You're kind of doing it for yourself, but you get it done. Whereas if you know that other people are supposed to be reading your stuff, you'll tidy up your style a little bit. You'll put the things on it, you know. But once you master Perl, it's so expressive.
You can freestyle it.
Yeah, you just do a lot so quickly in it.
Cool.
As much as I know that Python is sort of language du jour now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just every single time I'm forced to get really to grips with it, I find a new reason to dislike it. I think I'm going to skip it and go straight into Go instead.
Yeah.
Also, as a side note, Go is very good if you want to hack embedded devices.
We should probably make some reference to that somewhere in an embedded device in OffGrid then.
Pathfinder, wasn't there this big worm that was written in Go?
There were a few things that have been in Go. There's a botnet that, unfortunately, for various reasons, can't necessarily be discussed. But it was to do with brute forcing things, and that was a nice little Go thing. See, the thing with it seems the thing with Go is that some of the letdown of Python that some people might have frustration with, like the forced indentation and statement encapsulation, right, via things like brackets. Go kind of solves that, and Go also actually has proper async ability rather than the fudgy, what appears to be, I don't want to be corrected by Python aficionados, but what appears to be the fudgier version of async. So Go's the thing that I'm probably going to be trying to play with more for a similar reason, but
yeah, it has a lot of for it, for sure.
Go's alright. Ruby, I don't know about Ruby. I mean, they picked it for Metasploit, so that's a mark against it. It's almost like they saw PHP and C, and tried to do that, and they ended up with like a worse representation of Perl, but Pythonic Perl. I don't know what they're going on.
It's a very strange mix.
Do you know
between Perl and Python? Yeah. When I'm programming it myself, it feels like they sort of tried to strip out all the sort of syntactic sigils and all this kind of stuff out of it, but it just ends up to be slightly more confusing. I think there's sort of generally better tool sets and a better community around it, building stuff to make it, make sure it goes into it, and you see that Rubicop and all this sort of stuff. keeps people in check when they're making it.
Yeah.
But people still have conversations about. We're just discussing how great Pearl is. So
it's still going. Yeah, it is. It is great.
I mean, people have conversations about, should I have if statements with the conditionals on the same line, like do something if something, turn into a big kind of thing, where it's in Pearl, it's like urge to keep it on one line.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know Ruby well enough to cast a fair aspersion against it, but I will cast an unfair aspersion against it any day. I don't know. I think everyone should just deal with C and write sockets manually. That's how it should be, and that's the end of it.
I agree. I completely agree. I don't even use
none of that rubbish. Just raw socket pipes with bytes going down it.
Whenever I write Perl, I always just use socket, not even IO socket.
Oh yeah, not even IO socket. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, that is too far into the future for me. Science has gone too far, and we should all just be writing raw sockets all the time.
See, it's kind of a joke when people would say it's like, oh, what do you mean you use some kind of interpreted thing? I shout at a socket and it writes bytes to the other end. But when you end up dealing with something completely novel and you don't know, let's say your entire world is Perl, and you're then having to test against something brand new in some Java thing you've never had to deal with. Like this comes up all the time when you've got something that's very complicated to deal with, like a brand new SMB thing or a brand new something, whatever. You end up having to you have to go down to those basics and you have to write structs and you have to put your bytes at the right offset to send it down the stream and be interpreted as you've read it, because you're not going to be able to learn Java in the amount of time it takes for you to be able to work out this before.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah.
Without
also,
to
be honest, one of the things I really hate about like languages like Python is the amount of like stuff people like the libraries, the third-party modules and stuff people use. It makes like code so unportable. You want to write code.
I don't think you're going to like Node.js/npm.
I do not.
Like they have a library for everything.
Yeah, and it's wrong. It's sick. That's what it is. These people are sick.
There's like supply chain attacks against stuff that calculates how many slashes are in a string or something like. It's just...
That's half the problem, right?
There were two really good stories, and I can't remember the name of one of the packages, but there was a spat between some developer thing who had created something called left pad, which was left padding, which everybody used to pad left, right?
That was the one.
He got and argued. He goes, right, well, I'm RMing my stuff then. And he broke
everyone's website.
And I don't know if it was that one or one not too long after where somebody did a similar thing and either left a project or whatever, and it just got taken over by someone else who re-registered that naming thing and then essentially was able to push code across everything.
I was going to say that was something to do with that it was even worse than that, because it was something to do with the security. Some kind of Node.js kind of module or plugin that was supposed to do security checking for a website that,
amazing.
The project owner just got bored of, and so it ended up getting kind of taken over by someone else somehow, and they decided to just own everything that was using this particular module.
So this happens now and again with things like WordPress plugins. Some will take over a WordPress plugin and push it down, but there's a difference between somebody who has that, like the user base who has a specific plugin versus something that people fundamentally are even told in tutorials to use as something from, within a code base of anything like LeftPad. Like, that's crazy.
It's kind of, in a way, it sort of reminds me of the old days of like PHP, where everything was written in PHP, and every goddamn piece of reference or manual or guide to writing PHP made sure that whatever you wrote was full of SQL injections.
Oh yeah. All the
Yeah, it was
magic quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have the most convoluted attempts to stop SQL injection. Jesus.
And they actually enabled it in some cases when people did their own escaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't really touched PHP, and I think we shouldn't, because it's not just the language. Like within the last few years, the vulnerabilities that we've sort of had to look at that are sort of heavily PHP. We have a heavy PHP basis because that's what heavy. The world runs, unfortunately, through PHP. I mean, WordPress, Joomla, blah blah blah. They're all PHP stuff.
We've come full circle slightly, I think, because originally I think we were talking about Perl, and I think PHP really stole Perl's thunder initially because it had that tight integration with Apache, so you could straight away do this sort of like inline code and HTML without having to worry about templates and things. So you just go throw in a for loop, do a bit of iteration, you have your website going, this kind of stuff. And it was so easy for people to jump into. But PHP was pretty much like Perl initially. I mean, with sort of, I think even the early versions of PHP were actually coded in Perl, if I'm correct about that.
I want to say originally it was all written in C. Because it was just a tool that your man made to like set up his website quickly or something like that. And then it became this massive project. Like everything else that everyone uses. It was just someone's pet hobby that got out of control.
Well, personal homepage, that's what it is, right?
Is that what it actually stands for?
I didn't know that either.
Personal
Really?
homepage.
Yeah.
That is just wrong.
Hilarious.
Did you not know that?
No.
You didn't know that.
So the underlying structure now in PHP is C at the lower level. They made a lot of efficiency improvements, which I've gone on way too much about in the past, but essentially they made the memory layout more linear. So if you had any kind of serialization fun, you could just re-reference and walk linearly across the memory. So it's easier to pop PHP 7 with a serialize if you have the right gadget than it was with 5, which is quite nice, except that nobody's... So if you're a budding person out there who wants to break stuff, PHP 7 deserialize, it is going to come up.
I feel like PHP is always the target, right? If you're a budding person who wants to break into something, just find anything written in PHP. You'll have a fun time.
It's not even about the language. Earlier on, I was mentioning that having to work with that stuff, you end up well into the dev mailing lists of bug reports and things like that, and some of the people who are behind PHP. And I'm not going to call names out, but some of the attitudes of some of the people who are like, for example, they have decided that serialization, much like Java, but in a different manner. They've said essentially serialization should be categorically seen as
unsafe.
Function, do not use, and because of this, they have decided to remove any form of bug to do with serialize away from any security-related announcement or release. So if there's any kind of vulnerability to do with serialization, it just
doesn't get called out.
It's just info type bug, and they've essentially said if you use the thing we've given you for formatting data transit, that's your fault, right? And that's the other thing that did really annoy me was there was a vulnerability with, I think it was something to do with being, I can't remember if it was Drupal or one of the CMSs, but it was something about enabling put requests by default.
Yeah.
And they said we should put in the documentation that you shouldn't have this put on by default. And the person at the time running the portion of PHP that dealt with this type of infrastructure documentation said, if they don't know that putting it on, leaving a put request on by default is a problem, no amount of documentation is going to help them. Therefore, we're not going to update the documentation because they should know better. So you're willfully deciding that somebody who won't know any better, who is starting off, is not going to benefit from that knowledge because you're deciding they should already know better. I mean, that's garbage.
It's a great big job for the voice, isn't it?
I want to retell my favorite PHP story, which will give you a glimpse into the minds of these people. There was an integer overflow at one point in PHP a couple of years back, And for anyone who doesn't know anything about C, there's a thing called int max, which is the largest possible integer you can ever have.
Mm-hmm.
The PHP developers' first patch for this vulnerability was to check if it was bigger than int max, and obviously, since it cannot be, that was already a good start. But afterwards, once they realized that this didn't work, the galaxy brains behind the language then decided to cast it to a float and then check, and it just oh my god, it was just so poorly but yeah, PHP minds, like the developers, the people behind the language, they have some weird processes going on.
I mean, I know we've kind of blasted PHP a bit, and we're not trying to say everybody using PHP, blah. Like the internet is running on it now, pretty much WordPress, Joomla, Drupal, Magento. They're all doing that.
Can you imagine how bad it would be if they all had to program C?
Yeah, I mean, it has uses, but just if you have a choice and you're starting out, try to start with a language that has at least some kind of saying garbage collection rather than just being garbage.
Or just learn Perl. That was pretty good, yeah.
Oh dear.
We love PHP. It gives us all our access. It's okay. It's fine.
What's it looking like with the Lowry?
I've got build errors that I'm trying to get to the bottom of. Compile errors in the editor. That's a weird one.
I think I'm going to have to duck off in a few minutes, Straps. So
fair enough. Well, I think probably might have to wrap up anyway, because this might be outside of my remit for streaming modding stuff. If I have to dig into why an editor script is not compiling.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to disappear. But it's been incredibly fun, guys.
Thanks very much for swinging by.
Hosting this bridge. And I'll be on another one again.
Yep. Look forward to it. Well, I'm gonna try this build level one more time. So we'll catch you soon. We'll let you know how it gets on.
All right. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, dudes.
Cheers, Mark.
Take it easy.
So, I thought that there was some kind of error in my Lua script, and it turns out it's something to do with the level kit tool, which is odd, really, because it was functioning earlier, but it's definitely still coming up with these errors, so... Interaction. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, that's some work that's Andre has done today on being able to set up characters to take. There's quite a cool thing. So hackable devices in OffGrid, like things like vending machines and whatever else, they can apply a prop to a character's hand for a period of time, dependent on what device they're using now. So that's all a bit more kind of dynamic, if that makes sense. So a coffee machine gives the character a coffee cup, a Coke machine gives the character a Coke can, and on and on and on, depending on what device you want, or even just interactable prop, like a filing cabinet can give the character a piece of paper. We've set that up for modders to be able to do it, but there is some kind of compile error to do with the namespace or type in one of his scripts, and I'm not going to go in and muck about with someone else's code in the middle of it. So I think, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave that at basically Lowry will be spawned in properly next time, I'm afraid, folks. But that's how the dev stream goes a lot of the time. You know, we look at something, we find that it's broken, we go and fix it. So I will do that next time. Sean, I will keep I'll keep your song on hold ready for when we do get around to that. I'll put it in a Lua script. It was what was it? I Don't Smoke D&B VIP mix by...
Decline.
Who's it by? Who?
Decline.
Decline. Let's have a little sample of it. Go on.
Yeah.
I'll just nice.
Decline.
Oh yeah. I like. It's good.
Just watch that your video doesn't get claimed by.
Oh god, yeah, well, won't it? All right, turn it off now then.
Well, so it wasn't coming through. I didn't hear it coming through the call here, but yeah, you gotta be very careful with these.
That's true. We'll see, won't we? I mean, YouTube will probably blur it. You can get it to remove that part of audio. Nice, Sean. I like that. So it was kind of quite chill for DMB.
Oh, it starts off about 40 seconds in, and it kicks off.
It really drops.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I've made a note. That's Lowry's theme. And I guess for like future purposes, I'll have to get one of our the sound designer or the composer of the game to make an I Don't Smoke alike tune.
You have a sound there, do a proper job on it, do you?
Yeah. I've got a friend of mine that I sort of started making games with, I suppose, a long time ago. He works for Ubisoft as a sound designer, and he does our sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He's a good lad. That is Jonas for anyone out there interested. Cool. Well, I think we'll probably wrap this up then. I will just swing back to our closing screen. Where is that? Hang on. There we go. Well, yeah, I'll wrap up now then. Path, Sean, thanks very much for swinging by and being on the chat and talking about bits and bobs and magistrate courts and stories of old and why Pearl is superior. It's been fun.
Yeah. We'll have to pick that up again, the whole Pearl is superior thing. I don't know if I've been convinced yet.
As someone who's never written a single line in Pearl, it's going to take quite a lot of convincing for me. I suppose I'd have to actually go and do some.
One big framework that's still used for IRC botnet written in Perl, so you don't even really have to learn it. All you have to know is find the part where it says Dave's botnet and change it to
Rich's botnet. Yeah, exactly.
I'll keep my mouth very tightly shut on that whole topic.
Yes. 2008, something happened in Brazil, and we are still dealing with it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's some good uptime.
Don't. Well, no. Don't change what is currently still working, and the code is currently still working for everyone and their mother with their botnets.
I see.
Well, it has very good back compatibility, actually.
Right. Cool. Well, yeah, we can definitely pick up on this again. We'll I'll shout you both for the next stream so that we're all here to see the glory of Lowry appearing in the game next to the Techno trolley with some tunes banging.
Sounds good.
Look forward to it.
Cool. Thanks very much, guys. See you soon. And everyone else who's been watching, please do like and subscribe as and where you can. Wishlist us on OffGrid's Steam page, and join the Discord, which is at www.discord.gg/Semaeopus, SEMAEOPUS. And I look forward to chatting to you on one of those channels. Catch you all soon. Good night.